Welcome to Slaying the Craft, the show where we go inside the mind of a thriller writer. Hello, I am Sabrina Thatcher, your host. I thought that before we got into the season where I will be spending majority of the episodes interviewing authors about their books, their newest releases, their dark stories, how to pull off a perfect twist, all kinds of things like that. But before we got into that, I thought, well, people may not know who I am, so why would they listen to me or listening to interviews with me? So I thought I'd introduce myself a little bit. So here I am. I'm going to be talking about myself for a few minutes. Feels weird. So some of you may know me as Olivia Day Wallace from the Thrillers by the Book Club podcast. I have changed my name. I've dropped the pen name. And so I am going by my real name now, Sabrina Thatcher, which hello, it's me. And while we've been on hiatus from the Thrillers by the Book Club podcast, I have been working on my book coaching certification from Author Accelerator, which will be coming in August of 2025. And I've learned how much I really love the craft. I love the genre, crime fiction, mystery, thriller, suspense, horror, all of that. If it's dark and twisty, I'm super into it. So what I wanted to do was talk to people about the craft of writing mystery, thriller, suspense. I firmly believe in not recreating the wheel, which means learning from people who've already been there, done that. My hope is that I'm going to help fans who want to become writers find their way into the genre. Eventually, hopefully I'll have some playlists on YouTube. I'm also going to have some booktube videos where, I'm a huge fan. So you can see like right here, my new stack of books. I just want to talk about these all the time. There'll be that as well on my YouTube channel at Sabrina Thatcher. I'm going to do write alongs. So if you want to write with me, all those kind of things. So anyway, I thought maybe I'd tell you a little bit about myself before we get into all of the great episodes that we have coming up. And guys, we have some awesome episodes. You can take a sneak peek at some of my guests right back here. And we'll be talking to lots more over the coming months. And I'm super excited because I love to talk about thrillers. All right. So anyway, my stories. Why would you want to listen to me? Who the hell am I? Other than being a huge fan of the genre, I am an aspiring to be published author myself. I'm a writer, and we're going to talk about mindset at some point, but also you can call yourself a writer. If you are writing, you're a writer. So I always say like, oh, aspiring to be published author, because I want to be really, really honest and thoughtful and also speak positive into existence. So if I'm saying I'm aspiring to be published, it means I'm working towards being published. That's my goal. Anyway, so I grew up reading, like a lot of people, mysteries and thrillers. I read a lot of Catherine Coulter, Patricia Cornwell, J.D. Robb, and Sidney Sheldon. I did Fear Street. I was a huge Fear Street fan. All different kinds of stuff I've read. I think I read like every Danielle Steele ever. Up until like a certain point where I was like, okay, I think I've read them all. Then after I graduated high school and I went to college, I stopped reading. It was just things in life. I don't know, just like you're in your 20s, whatever happens, you stop reading. And a whole decade passed where I missed a bunch of amazing thrillers, a lot of amazing stories that I was really bummed to find out that I'd missed. So I'm loving going back and reading now and discovering new authors, especially authors that have a backlist that, especially if I really, really love them, I'm like, yes, I've got like 6 books I can go read. And while at the end of December of 2021, I'd just got back into reading maybe about a year before, 2019, I think I started getting back into reading. And then I decided I wanted a change in my life. I wanted a career change. And also I had met my career goals that I'd been working towards and found that like, okay, now what? What am I going to do? So I just decided to quit my job and start writing. So let me just tell you, I only did it for 6 months because don't do that. So I started like in December. I was like, I think I'm going to start writing a book. So in January of 2022, I'm doing research about starting to write mysteries and thrillers. I go to JT Ellison's website. JT Ellison's one of my absolute most favorite authors. I call her my fairy god author because she always has like some brilliant little nugget that she's dropping just like at the perfect time. I don't know how she does that, but it's incredible. Anyway, so I went to her website and I learned about a couple of things. One being Save the Cat, and the other thing being the Thriller Fest conference in the summer from international thriller writers. So I know myself, and I was like, I have to do something that's going to keep me accountable to actually do this, because if I don't, I'll just quit, right? So I booked going to Thriller Fest. I knew nobody at the time that I booked it. And I think I like knew one person going in there, maybe 2 that I had met on Instagram. It was just mostly just meeting new people. Anyway, so I did that. I started that in January. So then I started writing, and then I started quickly learning, oh crap, there is a lot more to this than I thought. It is not like I'm just going to sit and write a book and I'm going to have it ready to go to agents in 6 months, which is what I said. And we should all laugh at that because I deserve to be laughed at. That is so unrealistic. And I try to be really pragmatic, but like apparently I just was like, this is gonna be that, like, I'm meant to do this. But whatever. Anyway, so I started taking classes. I started learning. I started going to the back room sessions with Hank Philippi Ryan and Karen Dion put these on, and you get to have small small group sessions virtually with authors. So it was really cool every other Sunday going in and talking to 4 different authors in the genre that I love about things that they're doing. And so I started really getting to learn more about what that means and what it means to be published, that kind of thing. And I also was like, I need to know what being published, like what's the reality of being published, right? And what is the process? Because like I can go and I can write this book, but then what? And also I just need to know how things work, I think, before I can really dive in. So long story short, I took a bunch of classes. I went to Thriller Fest, absolutely changed my life. When I was there, I met some of my biggest heroes. I met Karen Slaughter. I met Jennifer Hillier. I met people like Jamie Lynn Hendricks and Vanessa Lilly and Danielle Girard and just so many amazing, Riley Sager. God, I was like, what the heck is happening? And it was such a cool experience. And getting to see these people as they were just people and treating me as an equal, which was bananas because like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I was like, I don't know. Why am I'm going to ask you a question? And they were answer the questions. And I was like, that's insane. Why are you answering this question for me? You have like a million things to be doing. But that's like what the beauty of that conference is. I also, I went for the whole week. And so I did a master class, which is short, it's a small group in person where we actually read 10 pages of your work. So a masterclass instructor, a very successful author in the genre will read 10 pages, give you feedback, and then we do like small group session for 8 hours. So I've done that 3 of the 4 years that I've gone to Thriller Fest, and I highly recommend it if you are going to go to Thriller Fest and you're going there to learn. This is a huge opportunity. Okay, the next thing I went to is Craft Fest because that was where you actually learn how to write. Anyway, again, going back to long story short, then I took ITW, online school, et cetera, et cetera. I kept reading, kept learning, and kept writing. And that's the thing, you can only truly learn by writing. And that's been a painful lesson. So I think it took me about 1.5 years to write my first book. And I just couldn't wait anymore. I wanted to get it out. So I queried. And I think it was okay. I think honestly that book was probably where the best I could do at the time, which means that I really miss the book. It's so bad, but I don't know, maybe one day I'll like resurrect it and see if I can do something better. So then I queried. And during that time, I also had done Pitch Fest at Thriller Fest in one of the years that I went, which is live pitching directly to agents. I did Query Fest, which is sitting down for 15 minutes with an agent for your first 3 pages of your book, as well as your query and or synopsis. And you're getting feedback directly from them. You're not pitching to them, but you are giving them feedback, or they're giving you feedback so that you're ready for your querying process. So you're getting people to look at it. So anyway, all of that to say, failed miserably. And so then I started writing my next book. And I wrote that book for about 8 months. And I'd gone back to work by then. I went back to work in 2022 before I even went to the first Thriller Fest. And so I'd worked on that book for about 8 months for the second one. And I got pretty far in. I was like really like vibing with it, feeling really good. And then kind of stopped. Then I went to another conference and I talked about this other book idea that I had and people were excited about it. So then I did that and started working on that. And then I got a little bit further into it and I was like, that stopped. So basically I also had several months of literally just like writing, working on novels and working on characters and all of these different things that I probably are never going to come to light. But I don't think any of those words are wasted because that's all learning. And I learned how to make connections and how to trust myself that I am going to make connections somewhere in here. Like I've gone back through some of the things that I've written and I'm just like, wow, this is a representation of this, this situation or whatever. Or I'm like looking in here and I'm like, oh, that's why that person had a knife, blah, 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 right? So it's really cool like that. And I think eventually over time you learn to trust yourself. Don't get me wrong. I have huge imposter syndrome because I am not published and I don't have an agent. I don't even have a second book finished. So that's where I'm at right now, is that I'm working on my second book. I'm a little over like 73,000 words into it and on another round of revision, but I am getting much closer to getting it done. I'm actually feeling like I'm making the right kind of progress finally. And that like, this might be a book I can be proud of, whether it gets picked up or not. I'm feeling like that can happen. Anyway, all of that to say, that's a little bit about me and why I'm here and why I'm talking about this and why you might want to listen to me. Because why would you want to listen to me? Other than I'm a huge fan of the genre. I try to meet a lot of people. I try to meet a lot of authors. I try to make connections for people. It's one of my favorite things to do. I try to get people connected from the right book to the right person. I really should have been a librarian. But all of these things to say, like, this is something I'm super passionate about. And I hope that I can share that with everybody and that it becomes something that is valuable to you. And I really, really hope, I'm really excited for a couple of months from now when I have enough to work with where I can create playlists on specific craft topics where if you want to get a refresher or just an idea of like, how does, Hannah Mary McKinnon write suspense? Maybe that's a book or an interview that's coming up. I don't know. But you'll be able to find that if you want to know like keys to suspense, that kind of thing. So that's really what I'm hoping to be able to do, as well as just talk about books and recommend books because I love them. Just love it. I'm gushing and that's going to stop. So thank you guys so much for joining me. There will be new episodes every Thursday on Thriller Thursday. This is not the same Thriller Thursday, just as a heads up, as the Thriller Thursday Substack, although I do think you should read that. This is my first tip coming up. If you are a person who loves the craft and or just loves thrillers in general, you can subscribe to a Thriller Thursday on Substack. It's a group of like 6 or 7 mystery thriller writers that they rotate, and you get different interviews and different information about books that are coming out, and it's just more exposure to more authors and the craft in the industry. So anyway, I'm not paid to say that. I just genuinely think that it's fantastic. So if you are like, what am I going to do until next Thursday when your interview comes out, Sabrina, then I would say go look at Thriller Thursday on Substack and you'll be like getting right into it. I'm not on there, but it's still really, really love it. Anyway, yeah, so I'll keep you guys posted as I go along about my own writing journey, my book coaching certification, like when that's open, things that I could be able to provide, and hopefully people will be interested in that too. Yeah, I don't know. I am just excited. I'm just trying to make myself move forward and stepping into a new path that will give me the joy that I know that this thing can bring. So it's pretty amazing. Until next Thursday, write sharp and stay twisted. See ya. Bye.